Okay, now we're going to go through the printing process. First we've got to find what we're going to print. Let's see. Alright, there is the SO decal. Final. Alright, we're going to print this one. So, let's click that one. Let's see what else we got. Click both of these open. Okay, this one here is a decal sheet for all the oil cans that I made up. You can see we got Richfield, which I'm going to change the Richfield one. I found a better can to copy. One a little more late model. This is more in the 30ish era. I want to look for one in the 50s. But we got the Pennzoil, we got the Texaco. We got the SO Uniflow and the Extra. We've got Texaco Type F. And then we start all over again. Anyway, so that one, and plus we have the SO station sheet. And view actual, let's go actual pixels. So this is kind of what the one we're going to print. Alright, so let's go back to control. Get this back down to a reasonable size so I can see the whole thing. Alright, it's pretty close. Okay, so we're going to print this. So we'll go over here to File, go to Print. Okay, so I want to look at what my settings are. Okay, it says paper type plain. I don't want that. I want to change settings, and I'm also not on the Epson. Do not want that Epson. I want the PhotoSmart B8500 series. Okay, 600 MB. So that comes up with a half page, which I had to custom enter that. Individual prints, actual size 8.5 by 5.5. 600 DPI. So we will print this up and we will show it being printed. Okay, we're going to load the laser white inkjet laser inkjet white with this side up. Put it in the tray here. Sometimes has a hard time picking it up from here, so we may have to help it. We'll click print. Got it. Okay. Takes a while to print it, but you're doing the best quality. There it comes. So there it is. And it's, I can't tell, but it's pretty clear. Came out pretty nice. So now the next thing to do is to coat it and make it a working decal. Alright, so let's talk about coatings. I've used, well, a bunch of stuff in different ways of coating the decals. try to make them better. One of the problems with what they recommend Krylon Crystal Clear to cover them, and that's okay. Shooting right out of a can. That's this one here. If you look, this one ran, and it to get it really smooth. I mean, you can see a little bit of orange peel maybe up in the top, and this is like 2 coats. But you know, it says to lay it down flat. Well, I actually pinned it up. And what I got these runs on the bottom. So it's going on really, really thick, and I'll show you an example of a couple of things that I've done. So that's that's the Krylon straight out of the can, and me trying to do as best I can to keep it from running. It didn't work. So next thing I did is I took the Krylon and I decanted it and put it in the airbrush, and that actually worked really good. I gave it two medium coats. One medium coat, let it dry for just maybe a half a minute. Then I put 2 more medium coats on it, and it's still thick, but not as thick as when I shot it out of the can. But you can see the sheen is a little, not quite as shiny because it doesn't have 18,000 coats on it. But it actually came out pretty good, and this is what I'm kind of going with now. I've tried Future. Future looks great, lays on good, but when you go to put your decals in the water, and a lot of, like this paper, it takes a good between 20 to 40 seconds for it to soak in the back of the paper into to get it where it'll peel off. But unfortunately, at the same time, it eats into the Future on the top coat, and you end up with a mess. Sometimes it gets all sticky on your thumb when you're trying to pull it off. Sometimes it just goes away completely. But that being said, Future is great for putting on after your decals are already set on your product, so or on your car or your pumps. It works pretty good. It looked pretty good after that's done. But then the third thing I did, I've got this one, which is off the old printer, actually the new printer. But this is actually, you can see there's very little sheen to it. But this is 3 coats of micro scale liquid decal film over the top of this. That works pretty darn good. I think this is 2 coats. But I cut it between 25 and 30% with 91% alcohol, and then shoot it through my airbrush. Messed around with different settings. About between 15 and 20 seems to be good. So you gotta, open up the paint a little bit. Give you a little more paint coming out, a little more decal film coming out, and like I said, a couple of medium coats, and actually these work pretty good. There is a problem with this that I found if I let them soak too long. Actually, I think what I did, I put too much micro salt on them, and I'll show you that in a second. So that's that. So that's the 3 ways. I mean, there's other ways of doing it, but this I really like this. I like the way they go on. I'll show you an example here. Here's an example of, okay, these 2 here are from are with the decal film, and you can see they're not really shiny. They're kind of maybe semi-gloss. And the one next to it, if I can get this dang thing to focus. Come on. Okay, the Fire Chief, that is sprayed on Krylon with an airbrush, and it is way out of focus. God, come on.
back on a bit. Okay, that's much better. Okay, so you can see along the side here, because I cut so close to it and I soaked them for a while, it actually, the water got underneath the decal film, and it removed the blue. My recommendation, if you use this stuff, and that's what I'm going to do from now on, is I take a brush and just coat, you know, when you cut it out, just coat around the edges just lightly and let it dry for a while before you put them in the water. Now this, okay, this is, like I said, was sprayed on. You can see it's a little bit clearer, a little bit shinier, but it's also a little bit thicker. It's about 1/1000 and a half thicker than the liquid decal film. And if you put Solvaset on this, hang on a second, let me turn this doggone monitor off. I think that's messing me up. Okay, that's better. Alright, so if you put Solvaset on these two, yeah, they work pretty good. You know, they suck right down, and I don't know if you can see there's a crack running in there. I'm not going to be able to see it. But anyway, a little cut. This was one coat of my microsol setting solution. And in this, this actually took 3 coats, 3 applications of the microsol to melt the Krylon. And to me, that's a lot. And on this Esso station, let's see if I can get this close, this pump, this was done with the Krylon, and it took 3 or 4 applications, and it still has one little wrinkle over here on the side. But the problem was that I had put so much on it that it actually ate around the edge, and it took some of the blue out, and I had to take a blue marker and go around the edge. This hasn't been clear coated yet, but I'll clear coat this with probably future. But everything else came out pretty good. Then this was done, the decal on this one was done with the liquid decal film, and I put 1 application on it, sat down, it hugged that sucker, and it came out perfect. So that one came out really nice. And these are all done with the decal film, and it came out pretty good. So that, you know, is it. And then this here, I was kind of cautious. It came off the same decal sheet as the one that I put on the test piece. Was just very careful with it, and I ended up using I think one application of the microsol, laid down really nice. This is coated with this is actually coated with Krylon, shot out of the airbrush. But same way the Richfield, what the hell am I? The Richfield Globe, that came out really nice too, and that was with the liquid decal film. So all in all, you know, it all depends. We have problems with all of them. I mean, it's like I said, that stuff, it kind of ate away at the edges, because I think I might have soaked them a little too long, or I put too heavy of a coating of microsol on them. But they really set up one coat, and I'm thinking maybe 2 medium, 3 medium coats with the decal film. Unfortunately, it's expensive. A bottle of this stuff, and it's the M12, it's anywhere between $4.50 and $5 for a bottle, and I can get 2 full sheets, maybe 2.5 full sheets out of 1 bottle. to coat. So, like I said, this is that's all I have left. I don't have very much left because I've already gone through a bottle and a half or a bottle and 3/4 of this stuff, trying to get my decals right. But unfortunately, all the prototypes I did, I sprayed them with this, and so now I've got that on order. But the ones I'm going to be sending out are probably going to be with the Krylon through the airbrush. So anyway, that's that. That's what they're coated with, and that's the troubles I've had with them, and what I've researched and found out about different things. I know there's a lot of people that swear by the Krylon, just right out of the can. I know people who decant it and use it and love it. I've heard people use it in Future, but to me, Future is not an option. I don't know, maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I do not have the capabilities to shoot the Future and to get them off, get the water slide to slide off without ruining the Future, and subsequently ruining the decal. So that's it for today. That's probably a long one. I'm sorry, guys. But, I'll have some pictures inserted in certain places so you guys can look at some of the stuff that I have done, and we'll see you.